What's up, guys? Tim Little, Matt Allen. Welcome back to Tactical Bassin. Today's video, we're kicking off the first annual Spring Buyer's Guide series. Today's video, budget combos.
Like Tim said, welcome to our first annual Spring Buyer's Guide. The idea behind the Buyer's Guide is we get an incredible amount of questions about different rods, reels, baits, gear, every day of the year. So we're taking, normally we do this in the fall and we will continue to do that, but this year we wanted to take 1 week in the spring and just pack the Buyer's Guides in, dedicated specifically to spring fishing. So for the next 6 days, running today through Saturday, there are new videos every single day. It's 1 week and then we're right back to normal content. We just wanted it packed in for you. So what we're doing today, Tim already said, budget combos. This is specifically about budget gear for spring bass fishing. So we took the main things that you do in the spring, right? Jerk bait, lipless, crankbait, all the way up to glide baits, down to a Ned rig or a Dropshot. Those key patterns, went through all the brands and found the best rods that we could for each one of those categories so that you could have the best gear possible for the things that you do most often in spring.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, like Matt said, we went through all the different key techniques in spring and tried to find the best all-around universal combos at that budget price point. So like every video down below, we'll link everything, but you want to start it or you want me to?
I'll kick it off.
All right, go for it.
All right, first one here. I was looking for a rod for throwing a spinnerbait and a chatterbait. Now, you will find at this price point that there's crossover between a lot of combos. So you can buy a rod and get it to do 4 or 5 things, even though you're only asking it to do 1 or 2, which is really nice because that can save you a lot of money. But I was looking for a rod that would just shine for the chatterbait. Finding that softer tip, but still having a strong mid is hard to find a lot of the times. And I found it in this Defy Black crankbait rod. So this is a 7-footer. But it's got that incredibly soft tip section, which is the key. When you're fishing a chatterbait specifically, and you want to pop it out of the grass, it's really important to have that soft tip section so that it doesn't just fly out of the grass. You want it to just break free and stall out a little, and that's when those fish eat it. Now that same action, once we get farther in, you see how it starts turning into more of a traditional rod. That's where it's able to double and throw a spinnerbait really well also. So extremely affordable combo. Even as budget gear goes, it's towards the lower price point of the budget gear, but does an excellent job for those techniques.
Yeah, Matt talked about that slower tip section, you know, pulling that chatterbait through that grass. You want that bait to kind of load up and then gain speed as it comes out of the grass. You don't want to just leave that strike zone immediately as you rip it through. So I'm not going to be as long-winded as usual, but my first combo is going to be the SLX paired up with the SLX MGL 70. This is specifically the 610 medium. You guys know how much we love the 610 medium in the X Pride. The 610 medium is such a universal rod, and this price point, I really enjoy this price point because, believe it or not, as I was growing up getting into my fishing career, this is the price point where, like you said, you had overlap. You had rods that you could use for different techniques. The more advanced and the more, you know, higher end you go into your career, you get specific rods for every technique. But this is like, you know, you could literally take these 6 rods and go fish a tournament in the springtime and do it all. So that's what's really cool. So 610 medium, again, it's just a great universal rod, but we really, really love it for throwing a jerk bait. And we picked this one also, obviously you could throw a fluke on it, but we picked it also because you could actually throw like a weightless Senko on it or some light finesse gear if you wanted. So if you are one of those guys that doesn't like throwing a spinning rod, that 610 medium just has a great all-around action to throw those lighter finesse baits. But that fluke, that jerk bait, the fluke, the 110, that sort of stuff works great on this guy right here. And then that little 70 MGL. This is a sweet reel. It's a reel that should be at a higher price point. We've talked about that before, but it just feels really good in the hand. Throw braid on it, throw a leader, throw straight fluorocarbon, depending on the technique you're doing. But this is my all-around favorite.
All right, next one up for me. I was looking for a cranking rod. A rod that could throw a mid crank, but the two main things is a square bill and a lipless. Probably half of our entire spring fishing is one of those two baits. Is that fair? I mean, we throw those a lot.
Right.
When we go fishing, that's just two of the techniques that we love doing. So I was looking for a rod that could do all the above. This is the Mojo glass, so St. Croix Mojo series, but their glass rod. It's the 7.2 medium moderate, incredibly soft tip section, and then very moderate throughout. Just an excellent all-around crankbait rod. Now, for a lipless, we use some very specific higher end rods for a lipless, but what we love about them is how deep into the blank they load. So when you're working that lipless, I'm not talking to chuck and wind. That's pretty easy. As long as you've got a crankbait rod that'll load up deep, you're in good shape. But I'm talking about working a lipless on the bottom, looking for that big bite. You need a rod when a big one eats it that you can load up and it loads deep and keeps those fish pinned even when they're doing those big head shakes. So this is a rod that will load extremely deep, but also works great for a square bill or a mid crank. Paired up with an SLX, I mean, it's absolutely a budget combo, but it's fishing like high-end gear.
Right. My next combo up is going to be the Dobbins Fury 704 paired up with a Lew's Speed Spool. Now, the 704, 734, that 4-power rod is just a do-all. It's like a medium heavy, I guess. I mean, I picked this one because you can literally throw a Texas rig, you could throw a jig, and you could throw a 6-inch glide bait, like an S-Waver. I threw my S-Waver on a 704, 734 for a long time. It just is a do-all rod. So the Fury 704 is just something that if you're looking for a rod to get into tournament fishing or just have a rod that you can do a lot of different techniques on, the 704 is just a universal, just do all. Has enough, it's got a softer tip, but it has enough backbone, like you said, in your combo, just to really set the hook on that glide bait. You can throw those little bit bigger baits, throw your little bigger jigs, and even your big Texas rigs. If you want to throw, you know, a 8 or 10-inch worm on a Texas rig, this is going to be a great combo.
Yeah, it's just a solid power combo, if you will.
Yeah, it's just a workhorse. I guess that's the best way to. It's just a do all.
Right. My last one is also a medium heavy. This is a Shimano Intensa, so a step up from SLX. It's the 7.1 medium heavy. It's in that same category of an all-around workhorse type rod, but it's a little bit smaller rod. It's a little bit softer all the way around. Paired it up to a 13 Inception, which is a ridiculously overbuilt reel for the money. It has a ton of bearings in it. It has a ton of drag in it. It's again, workhorse. That's the right word for it. It is a workhorse at an affordable price. And quite frankly, it looks pretty darn good on that combo.
Yeah, it's like a matte gray. It's, yeah. I've been really impressed with the 13 step I've used this year.
So that combo, in my mind, I was looking for a rod to throw a shaky head. Heavier shaky head, around cover. A lot of times when those fish in the spring, we're out there covering water, right? Fan casting. But when they pull to the bank, when you get those warm days and they actually make the move up to cover, now you can't necessarily do that. You have to actually go up there and fish for them, if you will. So a heavier shaky head or a finesse jig, so downsizing your jig. Throw in, for me, like a 5-inch Senko on a 3/0 wide gap hook. Perfect combo for all that stuff. It's a strong combo, but it's not particularly long, so I can get in there 7.1. I can fish it in and around docks, in and around cover. It's just very comfortable and able to do power techniques, but on the lighter half of them.
Yeah, it's important when you get these big fish, especially the big females, up and around cover. You want to be able to have little bit of backbone once you do hook them to get them out of that cover. Last but not least, we had to throw a spinning rod in there because you know, you can't talk about this stuff without talking about a drop shot or a Ned rig. So if you are a finesse fisherman and you're in that budget price point, the new Bass X has been, it's really well built. Been very impressed with those. But we went with the 6/8 medium paired up with the Daiwa BG. Got some braid on there. But this is, you know, St. Croix rods have built great rods for a long time, but we know that their actions are a little bit slower, a little bit softer. So this is a perfect rod. Like I said, that 6/8. What's the exact model? It's the 6/8 MXF, and
so medium extra fast.
Extra fast, right? But it's more like a fast. It's not like extra fast because
it's a St. Croix extra fast.
Correct.
Yes.
So your drop shots, you know, if you're throwing 4, 6, 8 pound tests with your, you know, your mosquito light hook, something like that, it's got enough soft tip to not bend that hook out, and then obviously your light finesse stuff, maybe even a little finesse jig or a real small one, but yeah, drop shot. Ned rig, this is going to be an awesome spinning combo to add to the rest of the lineup if you're looking for an all-around tournament package or just an all-around finesse budget combo.
Now with that, let's talk about the rest of the week. So tomorrow we are talking higher end combos, then we're talking soft baits and hard baits. Then we tried to listen to what you guys wanted. We're finally covering apparel. So sun gear, rain gear, all that stuff. And then we'll wrap it up with boat electronics, boat accessories, things you need in the boat. All those questions that you guys have been asking that we didn't answer.
Right.
We're trying to take care of that for you. So we are pumped about this week. It's gonna be a lot of fun. If you enjoyed the video, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you tomorrow.
See you in the next video, guys.